I have a very fun idea for a video today. If fun means turning you, a person who enjoys Lego Call of Duty, aka Phantom Forces, into a ravenous, violent, angry, foaming at the mouth beast. Because yes, I have a video today that'll make a lot of you really mad. A video about my opinion. Yes, I understand. The very idea of an opinion should get me the death penalty. In Roblox, of course. But as you've seen from the title and the thumbnail of today's video, and by the hate comments that you've probably already posted in the comments below, we are going to be making a list of the top 10 worst weapons in Phantom Forces based on stock performance alone. So I don't want to see any of this. Well, you didn't use my setup.
Shush.
Everything's gonna be okay. I'd like to mention that we're going to leave out any meme weapons, so no like Zip 22 or things of that nature. So if you don't see it on this list, that is why. So with that said, let's get into the top 10 worst weapons in Phantom Forces from bad to even more bad. And then after you watch the whole video, you have my permission to yell and scream in the comments. Also, if you could, definitely consider subscribing and liking the video as well. That'd be cool. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers. Awesome. Video time. So the first thing that we're going to start with today is going to be the bar, or the M1919A2. I'm so happy that this is in the game. I think that the model is beautiful. I love the way that the recoil looks, but there's a couple of issues with this weapon that just lead it to not being particularly that good. So while yes, I like the recoil for it because it's fairly controllable. You can only control that recoil for a handful of seconds because you only get a 20 round magazine with this. While yes, it is historically accurate, of course, 20 rounds in pretty much any weapon, especially an LMG, is just not really viable. As far as damage goes, we actually do have some pretty good damage, giving us 3-tap torso at maximum range and 2-tap torso out to right around 65 studs as well. It almost feels like it's more made for like CQC engagements as opposed to any range engagements. Because like out to this range, it's great. It's a fantastic weapon, but you'll find yourself having to reload basically after every single engagement. And it's just not super ideal for any longevity. It's a great weapon. It's a lot of fun. I'm happy it's in the game, but unfortunately, because of its magazine capacity, it's just not a particularly good gun. A lot of LMGs today, unfortunately. The next thing on the list being in the L86 LSW. This thing, if anyone knows, if anyone's ever used it, you'll just know it's kind of bad. So I mean, for one, it's just fairly ugly. I mean, that really has nothing to do with performance, but it just kind of doesn't add to the silliness. But ugly weapon aside, we have some pretty poor stats for an LMG. So first of all, while we do have 3-hit kill out to just about 65 studs, we don't even have a torso multiplier, so that minimum of 24 damage is going to be all that you'll be able to do. We also have standard headshot multiplier as well. So you're getting fairly like standard assault rifle kind of damage, but out of an LMG that has horrendous recoil. So you might think, okay, recoil's not great, damage is fine, it's okay, I guess. Model maybe a little bit ugly, but why else is it so bad? And it's going to be that magazine, because this magazine only holds 30 freaking rounds, dude. So while you're getting SMG, or I guess more like assault rifle damage, really, you're getting only a 30 round magazine, and it's not gonna last. It's just not gonna last you. God, that recoil is so bad. It makes it so difficult to even see what you're shooting at, dude. It's not good. It's a bad LMG. There's not much else to say about it. It's a very basic weapon. It's essentially like an assault rifle that they put into the LMG category and slowed down all of their performance for. That's basically it. So next, the AUG H-bar. I can't stand this weapon for so many different reasons. I mean, the model's all right. Like, it's just an AUG with like a bipod and a longer barrel, which I think is kind of cool. But where it really starts to fall off immediately is as soon as you aim down the sights, because these sights are the worst iron sights in the entire game. The Steyr sights. You can equip it actually on a lot of weapons, come to think of it. But yes, these Steyr sights are absolutely horrendous on this. You can't see through them. It's extremely difficult, especially whenever you're firing, to keep track of a moving target because you can't see through them. Not to mention that the overall stats for this weapon are just not that good. Damage-wise, again, very similar to like any generic assault rifle, and it cannot 4-tap at max range even with torso multiplier because there's no torso multiplier. Up close damage, while 31 damage out to 90 studs is pretty freaking decent, I guess. Like, fire rate and stuff is kind of similar to some of the other AUGs in the game, and the ammo capacity is like 12 more than any other AUG. So what you're essentially giving up is generally slower handling, crappy, horrendous iron sights in exchange for like essentially 12 more rounds in your magazine. That's basically all that you're getting out of this. Recoil's fairly good. It's not like it's necessarily a bad weapon or anything. I just feel that there's so many better options. Even within that like first 30 ranks, there's like better options to use. And because of that, it winds up on today's list. Now I know we said no meme weapons, so no Zip 22, things of that nature, because it just objectively does way too low damage. And I know what you're thinking when you see this, the MGV 176, you're like, dude, that's clearly a meme weapon. Look at the damage. But it's really not though. This is something that actually can be taken seriously, can be utilized, and can be a lot of fun. If you don't know, the MGV 176 is an LMG that has 161 rounds in a disc-shaped magazine that fires essentially 22. And because of that, it has insanely low damage. Though the kind of trade-off for it is that you get nearly 1500 fire rates, allowing you to do stuff like that. 91 damage. Lovely. You essentially get an insanely high fire rate in exchange for low damage. And I really like this weapon in concept. I think it's a really, really fun weapon to use. But unfortunately, it is just not very practical. And one of the main reasons is going to be its side-to-side recoil, because while it doesn't look like a crazy amount, the only practical use for this is as like a headshot machine, because it does have a 2x headshot multiplier, much higher than the standard, allowing you to 4 tap to the head point blank, and at maximum range 5 tap to the head. And dude, other than that, it requires 10 freaking shots to kill somebody at any range at all. Like this is the only way that you get kills. Freaking surprising somebody who's not looking at you. That's really the only way. And because of that, it's just not a particularly good weapon. Fun, yes. Good, no. Now for our next one, we're actually going to go to a larger map because, and I hesitate to put this on a list like this because there are some pretty diehard fans of this out here. But our next weapon on the list is going to be the SFG. Yes, there are some insane diehard fans of this, and I apologize in advance. But this weapon is very, very scuffed. And I'm going to see if I can show you an example of that here. There, finally, I can show you. Oh my God. The problem with this lies with, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I'm 90% sure I'm right here, but with this right here, the accuracy, hip choke and aim choke being not 0. If we look at the big boy version of this, the BFG, you'll see both chokes are at 0. If you look at an SMG, 0. If you look at most weapons in the game, the choke is 0. So what exactly is that? Again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but to my understanding, it essentially is like the deviation in the bullet. And in this case, it is because the barrel is so small that you will have some level of deviation. So there could be a lot of cases like that right there, where you swear to God that the shot should have landed, and it just kind of doesn't. It can happen up close. It can happen at range. It can happen just about anywhere. But effectively, this becomes a not particularly good sniper. Like that literally should have been 100% hit. But the reason it's not is because, again, I believe because of the choke right here. This can be fixed with things like 17 Incinerator, which takes it to 0, which then does allow you to then have like a perfect 100%, like, I guess, hit whenever you're aiming at somebody. But of course, based on stock performance, it's just not particularly that good as a sniper. Funny, yes. Cool, yes. Unique, yes. But it's just not that great. Though what's less great, and yes, of course, we're going right back to the LMG category, is going to be the Hammer IAR. I cannot stand the way that this weapon operates. So this actually used to be a weapon that I loved back in the day. And it was just kind of a cool thing. If you liked the Scarl but wanted more ammo, just at the cost of a little bit less range damage, you equip this. Great, fun, lovely. But where this weapon went wrong is in an update that was probably a couple months ago now. I couldn't tell you the exact date. It's been a while, but essentially they turned this weapon from a pretty good LMG into something that has a horrendously low fire rate, but for a very particular reason. So I'll try and go into a room here so I don't get interrupted by like random sweats, but you can see the longer I fire the weapon, the fire rate actually goes up, and it goes up to a maximum of 750. You notice anything yet? Notice anything? We're not at 750. We're not at 750 yet. It takes 2.5 full magazines of non-stop fire to get you to that 750 fire rate. So, okay, let's say you don't really care. It's just the fire rate, whatever. How's the damage and stuff? Well, all of that is relatively okay. I don't hate the damage or anything like that particularly for it. And once the fire rate really like gets to its max, it's actually pretty good. But the fact that you have to dump 2.5 magazines just to get to its maximum fire rate is extremely, extremely annoying. We do get 4-tap maximum range, which is nice. We do get 3-tap torso out to right around 85 studs. And that stuff is good, but I cannot stand the ramp up fire mode. Oh God. If they were literally, all that they have to do is remove the ramp up fire mode and I will like this so much more. Average the fire rate out at like 700 and it'd be so good. It'd be such a good weapon, but I can't stand this mechanic. I hate whenever weapons have this. I used to think it was cool and unique. Now I just hate it. What I hate quite a bit more though, and a lot of you guys are going to already know this, it's going to be the foul para shorty. This is genuinely one of the worst weapons in the entire game. I hate this weapon. First of all, look at that recoil. What is that? What is that recoil? It's bad. That's what it is. This is... I can't, bro. I hate this thing. The recoil is awful. The magazine capacity is small. Like, there's just, unless you're like face to face with somebody. And even, oh God, the hip fire. Oh my God. God, that hip fire recoil. It's just a terrible SMG. It really is. Oh, but Steven, the damage is so high. Look at that. I have one answer for you. There's the answer. You like good CQC damage? Use the Vector. Low recoil. Use the Vector. Just like, why does this have to exist? It's just, there's already so many fouls in this game. There's so many fouls in this game. Why? Why does this have to exist? Speaking of fouls, the SA-58 SPR. This is effectively a modernized foul. It's effectively a modernized semi-automatic foul. And this is one I have always hated. If you've seen pretty much any of my like rating videos, you'll know I always rate this thing pretty freaking low. And there's a multitude of reasons for it. First of all, it is just the worst DMR in the game. It is like out of all the other DMRs, this one's just the worst. It does have 2-tap torso out to a good distance. It does have 3-tap. Does it? No, it doesn't. It has 4-tap maximum range, 20-round magazine, mid fire rate for a DMR. But the recoil is just everywhere. It's extremely difficult to control, as a DMR should be. Obviously, I'm not hating on it for that necessarily. But like, while prolonged firing, it's so difficult to see out of the iron sights. Like, what am I shooting at? Who knows? Who knows what I'm shooting at? The 78 assist is not going to help me if I'm dead. And other than like really slow tap firing at any real range on people who just don't see you, you're not getting any kills. It's just, it's way too difficult. Like, you just have to get lucky that someone doesn't hit you. That's literally, you just have to get lucky that people don't hit you. Not to mention it's ranked 78, and literally every DMR before this is just infinitely better. God, I can't stand this weapon. Back to the secondaries we go, and onto the Obres we also go. This is another weapon that like weirdly has like a cult following behind it almost. And for, again, a lot of reasons, this is just objectively a very poor secondary. First thing I'll say, it is a headshot machine. It really, okay, that's kind of, I didn't expect that. It is a headshot machine, always 1-tap headshot, no matter the range, which is great. I love to see that. And unlike the SFG, this has 0 choke, so it's always going to be accurate. You're not going to have like deviation between shots, other than drop off, obviously. And it effectively is a cut down Mosin. I like it. I think it looks cool. The problems arise from the fact that it is always a 2-tap torso. There is a torso multiplier, but it's always a 2-tap torso. And if you don't hit the torso shot even once, that's it. 40 damage, you're done. At least past 100 studs. Not to mention the iron sights are impossible to see through. And we do get a front post. I will say we do get a front post as a free attachment in the barrel category. And while it does make the sight like look different, it's not any easier to see out of. I'd argue it's actually harder to see out of because now you can't see through that notch very well at all. There's so many better options. There's literally pistols that can 2-tap better than this thing can. There's not really any reason to use this over most other weapons in the game, which leads me straight to the final and potentially worst weapon, in my opinion, in the entire game. The SAS 308. God, do I hate this weapon. I make it very, very clear very often how much I hate this weapon and why I hate it. You see that there? You see that 97 assist? Whenever I was like 10 feet away from him? Yeah, that's a good start. That's a great start, actually. Because the SAS 308, while being the highest level, like secondary in the other tab, I rank 132. It's just terrible. 1-tap out to 30 studs to the torso. Lovely. And then everything beyond that is a 2-tap, other than at max range where it is a 1-tap headshot. It does have high muzzle velocity, which is similar to the BFG, interestingly enough. And even though it has what I deem to be some of the better iron sights in the game, I love how these look and how basic they are and how open they are. No headshot means virtually no kill. Credit where it's due, it does have a quick reload. And if someone's taking a little bit of damage, it does still have the ability to hit them in the torso and kill them out to a little bit further range, again, provided that they've taken some damage. But these like single shot weapons like this, I can't stand. It's ugly. It's a waste of development time. There's so many cooler things that we could have gotten instead of this. 99 damage again. How many times am I going to do 99 damage? How many times? Well, that pretty much is going to sum up, in my opinion, the 10 worst weapons in Phantom Forces and a couple of the reasons why I don't like them. I think especially the placement of the Scar Hammer on this list is going to make a lot of people mad, but I hate that ramp up fire mode. With that said, what do you think of my list? Do you think something else should have been on this list? Do you think my list is completely backwards? Is the SAS 308 your favorite weapon ever to be conceived in this game? Let me know all these things in the comments section below. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely get subscribed with notifications on. And as well, consider liking the video. It helps out a ton with promoting this content. And like I said earlier, we're getting really close to 200,000 subs, and I'd love to hit that by the end of the year if we can. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much to the channel members up on screen. You guys are fantastic. Big shout out to them. If you want to become one, you can do so at the link below or the join button on my channel. And if you want to see other videos like this and can't wait for more to come out, consider watching the Phantom Forces playlist up on screen right now with over 500 Phantom Forces videos in it. Makes for a great binge session. And otherwise, I can't take any more Phantom Forces today. I gotta go do something else. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Peace.